Hello, I'm Dana Adkins, President and CEO of the Military Officers Association of America. This year brings new challenges and opportunities with the swearing in of the 117th Congress. Finding bipartisan ways forward will be essential to succeed. At the front for MOAA are issues that impact earned benefits for our currently serving service members, retirees, veterans, and their families. Issues like access to quality, affordable health care, pay and entitlements, and parity for our National Guard and Reserve forces. Since transitioning to 100% remote work in March of 2020, as the full impact of the pandemic was becoming clear, the focus of your leadership team has been safety, security, and engagement. While working remotely, MOAA initiated a philanthropic campaign to address urgent military community needs emerging from the impacts of COVID-19. More than 1,800 of our members contributed more than $225,000 in 2020, and more donations are arriving each day. Now, these funds are providing urgently needed financial relief for veterans and the military community. Throughout this period of pandemic response and social distancing protocols, our headquarters team has remained healthy, and largely due to focused technology investments, we have not suffered any intrusions into our IT infrastructure. Now, highlights from 2020 work will include maintaining our access to senior government officials. Notably, Admiral Carl Schultz, Commandant of the Coast Guard, Lieutenant General Ron Place, Director of the Defense Health Agency, and Admiral Brent Gerard, Assistant Secretary of Health at the Department of Health and Human Services, and most recently, the administration's pandemic testing czar. Now, thanks to these strong relationships, we are able to share untold and impactful stories of action from the Uniformed Services response to the pandemic in our widely acclaimed June issue of the Military Officer magazine. Our transition and member service teams also engage with more than 46,000 MOAA members, spouses, and military community members through weekly lectures, webinars, career management assistance, and real-time support through our Member Service Center. And our council and chapter members reach 100% of the 535 congressional offices to advance our virtual storm advocacy agenda. We continue to regularly punch above our weight class on Facebook, MOAA's primary social media channel, and achieve more likes, shares, and engagement compared to even the largest veteran service organizations. And our talented membership and marketing team is preparing to launch a new television commercial that will showcase MOAA's role in supporting military personnel and their families. Now, we hope to build off the success of last year's television commercial during the Army-Navy game, where we drove 50% more traffic to our website on game day and increased the number of joins attributed to our ad campaign that week by 150%. In addition, our premium membership renewal rates are rising. To date this year, we are almost 2% higher than we were at year-end, further reaffirming the effectiveness of our engagement and outreach efforts. All of this and more was accomplished while working remotely and safely and allowing our team members to successfully balance work and personal responsibilities. I'm very proud of each of them, and I could not be prouder of our government relations team. Following a successful 2020 National Defense Authorization Act, highlighted by the repeal of the widow's tax and other landmark legislation, the fiscal environment on Capitol Hill became much more complex as our elected leadership responded to the current public health, financial, and economic crisis. Various constituencies have health care on their crosshairs, and I want to take the opportunity to be clear about our priorities as we focus on this important issue. Priority number one, ensure military families and retirees maintain access to high-quality health care. Priority two, support House provisions in the 2021 National Defense Authorization Act that will protect beneficiary access to care by halting planned cuts to military medical capacity and requiring additional Department of Defense analysis and congressional oversight of the process. Recall, this was the central theme of our summer storm. Priority number three, maintain our credibility and working relations with Congress and the Defense Health Agency. We may not always agree on the tactics between Congress and DoD, but we remain influential on the outcomes. It is also important for you to know that we acknowledge early on that reforms in military health care are necessary, and any changes must contribute to improved readiness and better care for our service members and their families, as well as for our retirees and survivors. There are many other advocacy irons in the fire. Here are just a few. Some of you may recall the Exceptional Family Member Program, known as EFMP. Earlier this year, Karen Rudicelli from our Government Relations team testified before the House Armed Services Military Personnel Subcommittee on much-needed improvements to EFMP. Her testimony, among others, resulted in program improvements reflected in legislation currently under consideration. We remain front and center on all commissary and exchange issues, primarily a potential merger that focuses only on cost savings at the expense of the quality of the commissary benefit, customer service, and contributions to MWR programs. As you may know, MOAA played a leading role in identifying and addressing issues in military privatized family housing. This past June, DoD outlined the implementation status of 14 of the 18 rights contained in the Tenant Bill of Rights. We are tracking the remaining 4. We continue the fight to reduce military spouse unemployment, and we were instrumental in reintroducing the Work Opportunity Tax Credit legislation. Additionally, MOAA put pressure on DoD and Congress to reimburse spouses for relicensing in conjunction with PCS moves, and we supported the FY 2020 NDAA that doubled the amount of reimbursables up to $1,000. We also supported the Major Richard Starr Act, which addresses the 42,000 combat-related individuals forced to retire for medical reasons before completing a 20-year career, known as Chapter 61 retirees, and their lack of concurrent receipt of both retirement pay and disability compensation. While not in this year's NDAA, it will be one of the first priorities with the new Congress. In addition, MOAA remains focused on the proposed eligibility changes for burial at Arlington National Cemetery. We have engaged with DoD, the Army, and Congress, and are rallying our members to engage during the public comment period, which began on September 15th and will run through November 15th of this year. Our priority is to secure grandfathering for those who may have already made Arlington their choice for their final landing. We are also seeking non-contiguous expansion to allow for continued ground burials well into the future. Blue Water Navy claims are another association priority. Payments began this last January, and the latest Agent Orange development is pending legislation that would add 3 presumptive conditions to the existing criteria: bladder cancer, hypothyroidism, and Parkinson's-like symptoms. Missing from this list is hypertension, which was originally sought. The other 3 are included in the Senate version of the FY 2021 National Defense Authorization Act. And it's important to note we continue to advocate for all of our uniformed services. Legislation, such as the Pay Our Coast Guard Act, would protect Coast Guard service members' pay in the event of a lapse in appropriations or government shutdown. This provision is currently in the Senate version of the Coast Guard Authorization Act, but was regrettably removed from the House version due to cost. The COVID-19 Stimulus Relief Package, the CARES Act, was signed into law March 27th and included the U.S. Public Health Service Modernization Act. This legislation provides a ready reserve corps to fill additional commissioned corps requirements for emergency response missions. MOAA also sponsored, along with our military coalition partners, legislation addressing statutory authorities lacking in the NOAA Commissioned Corps, most prominently an increase to 500 authorized strength from the current ceiling of 321. Thank you for your support during these uncertain times. Remember, MOAA is working on your behalf, no matter the circumstances, and we will not let today's headwinds stop us from meeting with legislators and responding to pressing matters in the lives of currently serving service members, retirees, veterans and their families, and surviving spouses. It's an honor to be working for you, our members and the entire service member community, in this important mission that makes a positive difference for so many. If you are a viewer and not a member of MOAA, I urge you to join our team and become part of something much bigger than any of us can achieve independently, as we continue to live our mantra and spirit of never stop serving.